Spring football. When's it start, Jason? March 9th?
March 9th, next Tuesday.
That's coming up soon. So we'll start with you. What's going to make you feel better about this football team at the end of spring practice?
I want to see, and Logan touched on it earlier, and I think Logan is 100% correct. I never thought I'd say that. But I think Logan's 100% correct. I want to see the secondary. I think the secondary, there's no other way to put it, god-awful. God-awful. Let's just take a look real quick. See, here's our Miami idiots, 210. Yeah, we got it. I was there. I remember. But look at what happened with last year's class. Let's take a look at the guys who are just using transfers alone. Because Florida State brought 2 players in on the secondary as far as guys who signed from high school. But Jerry Jones, we talked about him when he transferred from Mississippi State. He single-handedly is the reason we lost the Georgia Tech game. If he blocks on one of the picks by Asante Samuel has a pick 6 and we win that game. Or if he actually plays defense on Georgia Tech's 1 touchdown, they don't score that touchdown. So he's the single-handedly the reason we lost to Georgia Tech. Other secondary player that we got was Miko Dotson, who transferred in from FAU. We hyped up him, leading the nation in interceptions, and he didn't really do anything. If you look at this year's group, early enrollees, we've got Kevin Knowles from down here in Hollywood, from MacArthur High School. He's an early enrollee. And then if you look at the transfer guys who come in, you've got Brandon Moore, who transferred from UCF. You got Jamie Robinson, safety, coming in. You've got guys who are coming in. I'm sorry, Jarquace McClellan, the kid from Delray Beach, who's from Arkansas. You've got guys who are coming in, but it's got to be – the secondary was so bad last season. It was just atrocious watching them letting – and it wasn't just the Miami game. It wasn't just the Notre Dame game. They're letting Pittsburgh run all over. They're letting – we haven't even talked about Willie yet. Calm down right here. They're letting Louisville run over them. Not just Tutu Atwell, but other players on Louisville's team. The secondary is without the secondary showing any improvement, Florida State will still be the same team they were last season. So I need them to go through the spring. I need them to play spring football and show some semblance of getting anywhere better. If that happens, I'll be fine.
What do you think, James? Heading into spring, first thoughts.
Yeah, before I go to that, I got to talk to my guy, Ronan. Ronan, the only reason nobody trolls your precious quarterbacks. You have one that's a paraplegic as well, that we don't know if he's going to walk, in King. And you got a guy whose dad only thought his son was worth $2,500 a month. The difference between me and your dad is my son is worth at least $6,000 a month. So if you want my kid to play high school football for you, you better drop a bag, or we're going to the school we're zoned for. I'm just saying, if we're going to cheat, I'm not going to cheat for $10,000. It makes absolutely no sense. But I'm a man of morals and principles. But when we go to the spring game, or the spring, we talk a lot about the secondary, and I need to see the scheme. I guess that's what I need to see. I need to know what kind of defense we're actually running and try to wrap my mind around what makes sense. And yes, it's easy to pick on the secondary as they were awful, but I go back to this Louisville game, and I'm seeing a guy like Tutu Atwell, and I'm seeing him being covered in the slot by Travis J 15 yards deep. There's absolutely nothing you can do to stop that with nothing to redirect this guy. So, I have to see, maybe do the coaches feel more confident in how they're playing these guys or what's going to go on. But bigger than just that, the defense got 1.1 sacks a game on average. That is awful. It's really no explanation for it. I'm actually afraid that we have our incoming defensive end wearing number 11 because I just remember what the last number 11 wore, and I just don't want to go back through that nightmare. I don't want to feel that. Maybe it's the jersey number. Just like I don't want to see a kid wear number 5. It bothers me. 5 and 11 right now, until I see somebody like ball out in them on defense, I think they should be retired. But there's, just really just the defense as a whole. Do they fly around? Are the guys more confident? Offensively, I'm not going to see what I need to see probably until August, because the reality is, as brought up, we talk about a lot of trolling back and forth about 2-second clips and a lot of different things of that nature. They would be fools to allow him to go full go. and that's Mackenzie Milton. So I want to see him throw, but I also understand that I'm not going to really know what Mackenzie Milton can do until August. But I want to see does Jordan Travis get a little bit better? Does Chuba Purdy, does his throwing motion look less like Al Bundy and more like an actual quarterback? It is Tate Rodemaker. Is he broken? Because he crapped in bed against Jacksonville State, and that terrifies me that a kid can be recruited to our school that's terrified against of an FCS school. Running backs, that's the one I'm the most excited about. Running backs and the wide receivers are the ones I'm most excited about. A lot of young talent on both, a lot of competition. You should see somebody get better, and we won't know about the offensive line in 15 practices. It's just impossible. I just need these guys to be healthy. I need Atkins to kind of come up with a formula, get him 5 guys that he trusts, and get 5 guys that are healthy. So that's really what I'm looking for. I don't want to hear about buy-in. I don't want to hear about we getting coached. I heard all that last year. I heard how much better it was last year, how much they loved each other. They went on a camping trip, I think, in August or something, roasted marshmallows, talked about all these different things to come out and go 3-6. I'd rather them say bump that. I hate these coaches and go 6-3 if that's what it's going to take. But defensively, scheme, offense, it's my take on it is it's all hype. Show me. I'm forgiving last year, but you really, really have to show me, and I'll get excited, but I really won't know.
Logan, getting back to spring practice, what is the areas you're looking at?
Probably, I would say the 2 starting cornerbacks, I think, is going to be a very fun battle. As we talked about with James and Jason and Mark this whole offseason, we do it every offseason. As Florida State just continues to bring in talent at defensive back, so what are you going to do with it? I thought it was poorly used last year. Like James was mentioning, the scheme, where they were being put at, I think was at some point a struggle. I think also the players, too, were put in right positions for the most part, although that they just weren't able to come through and find production. They were not able to find interceptions, deflect, and stay on their guy. I definitely – the Tutu Atwell thing, I definitely erased it from my mind, James, but you just reminded me about how ridiculous that happened and who was staying on him. I think, what was it, Brownlee and then Travis J. Asante Samuel Jr. is projected to be almost a late first-round, early second-round guy, and he wasn't on him for the majority of the game. How does that happen? That is so stupid, but that's got to be fixed. Whoever these two starting corners is going to be fun to watch to start off the spring. For right now, my prediction is going to be Miko Dotson. I think that you just can't keep him off the field after what he did with leading the country in interceptions 2 years ago. I thought he looked pretty solid as not being fully healthy too during this last season. I think Miko Dotson will be over there, and then eventually it will be Damari Tate. Damari Tate was being recruited extremely hard, was having a fantastic camps before he dropped his feet into Tallahassee. There's some things that people are raving about him right now. He's just got to get some things down and be mentally straight, and he can take that job. That's his biggest threat right now, is just his mental game going against him. If he can get straight there, I wouldn't doubt it if Damari Tate ends up being a starter. But I'm going to be interested to watch these 2 starting. Who's going to be these 2 corners that Woodson is going to put out there? I think that's going to be a really fun discussion, and whatever rumors or nuggets we'll be getting, that battle is going to be fun because this wide receiver unit's going to give it all to them. It's going to be those two position groups are going to get better week by week, and the fall camp should be really fun with Destin Hill coming in too. So good battles between wide receiver and DB. One that kind of has a talent, still trying to figure out who their starting unit is going to be over there, and then also your DBs, your 2 starting corners who don't know who's going to be the starting unit there. So it should be fun.
Adding in Parchment too is going to make it extra competitive as well.
His mental. You saw his tweet. What was it? Earlier today, I think it was. Yeah. He said, "Just to let y'all know, I'm still the best wide receiver in the country."
Well, from the main
he still is.
That's what he said.
It's good to know that he still is. Okay. He hasn't fallen off his place as number 1. It's good to know.